Hello, 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 everyone. It's Rosin, and I'm here again with another vlog. Want to give an update on my life. It's been a while, again, but I felt like doing this, and I have the house to myself right now, and I feel comfortable talking about life stuff into the microphone, because, hey, fuck it. I'm playing a video game. I don't know, you probably recognize it. It's something. I haven't decided what I'm going to slap this audio over quite yet. If not, I'll have the game name down below in the description, whatever, fuck it. You're all here to hear me bitch and moan anyways. So, it's not going to be that. There's actually a lot of good stuff in this, really positive stuff, so that's good. But there will be some moaning involved, a little bit of whining here and there. But major shakeups stuff have happened in my life. I'm about a little, actually, oh god, a little past a year out from graduating from school, so that's fucking cool. And yeah, as some of you, or maybe most of you, I don't really know, just from like Twitter and stuff, I ended up after getting my college degree, going into a internet digital marketing firm type place. It was a smaller company, not too far from where I live, and basically they did like any sort of like content writing, social media, advertising, basically anything involving the internet and having to write for it. With the occasional infographic or video here and there, they did. So like smaller companies, nonprofits, or even just bigger companies that just didn't want to have their own, like they didn't want to pay their own employees to do shit. They would go to us and they'd be like, "Hey, can you do our social media and all of our like blog posts and shit for us?" And we'd be like, "Hell yeah!" And we were divided up into a couple teams, and then each of those teams had a set of clients that they needed to work with, and even then from there. Like, I didn't work with every client on my team. Like, they kind of divided you up even then. So it's like, okay, person A, person B, you work with these sets of clients. And actually, that I will say they were pretty cool and pretty accommodating for what they asked. Because, like, they want you writing and doing stuff for, like, shit you actually give a fuck about. Because, you know, hey, it shows in the writing. So they knew that I was more interested in like smaller businesses, more local places, and nonprofits because like I don't want to do much in my life with bigger corporations. Which we'll get into later a little bit actually because that it's interesting. This is taking me places. But yeah, and it was a smaller organization that I worked for, but it was part of like I don't want to say network, but it was owned by like a bigger organization that like we never heard or saw from, but like gave us money and stuff. I don't know. It was confusing. I never really understood it. Most of my coworkers that I also have kept in touch with don't really get it either. Lack of communication is going to be a big part of this story coming up. So yeah, we just didn't understand how the fucking company worked. I'm sure I could figure it out with like a couple Google searches if I really gave a damn, but I don't because I don't work for them anymore. So fuck it. But yeah, it was mostly a good experience. It was an office full of young people and a lot of nerds. One of my supervisors was just the biggest fucking nerd, and then the other person was very traditional, like, she was just, like, good at marketing lady, and she just kind of, like, endured us, and I felt so bad for that poor woman, because, like, people would go in early to, like, and I shit you not, we had an office Minecraft server that people, I don't give a fuck about Minecraft, so I never really tagged in. I think I logged in once, and I was like, this is fun, and I didn't do it again. But yeah, people would come to work early to play Minecraft for like an hour with each other, and then they'd get to work. It was funny. We had a office GameCube where we would play Melee, Double Dash, and Super Monkey Ball. That's a lie. I didn't get very good at Super Monkey Ball, but, you know, I learned more Super Monkey Ball. I played more Super Monkey Ball than I ever thought I would in my life. Super Monkey Ball is great. I'm actually kind of missing that about that job. Should download that ROM and play it on Dolphin. Maybe stream it or something. I don't fucking know. I need to move my mouth away from the mic so I can drink. Anyways, so yeah, it was very, very nerd. Sometimes in cringy ways, sometimes in, like, fun ways. You know, it's nice working with people who, like, I can talk to about, like, fucking, like, the Final Fantasy VII Remake and shit sometimes, even though sometimes it gets a little ridiculous. But, like, you know, like, everyone in that fucking, like, I could talk about, like, Marvel movies and, you know, other, like, you know, any big name nerd shit you could talk to with people there and be like, oh yeah, we can all bond a little bit over this. So that was pleasant. Sometimes it got a little stupid, but, you know, that's every nerd thing, I guess. So yeah, that was cool, but every story has to come to an end. So there's a point where management, there is a shakeup in management, and the leader of my team left, got fired. It's confusing. There's a lot of drama involved. To be fair, he was in the right, all things considered, and things started to get really stupid. The company started to lose money through various things, and that didn't, like, help. Which sucks because we all did good work. Like, I don't know. One thing that this experience taught me is, like, hey, you can have a really good-ass business that does really great work, and there are so many fucking outside factors and complications that can come up in any organization that can just lead to things like shit hitting the fan and stuff like that, and it was a mess. But basically, they fired my direct, like, the person I directly reported to, who I liked a lot. I liked that guy a lot. And then, like, more and more people started to, like, leave or get fired until there was a point where, they just fired basically everyone who was on the team I had worked with, except for, like, one girl who, like, her and I, like, were friends, but, like, everyone else that I was friends with basically got let go or left. And the rest of the team I had worked with was, like, that girl and, like, those two other dudes who, like, never talked and, like, I never felt any connection to. So I was like, well, this is a fucking bummer. So, like, my past, like, month or two, like, the last month or two I had there were actually kind of rough, because it's like, I don't want to actually go in anymore, which is a shame. And it makes working hard. But, yeah, it was a pain. And also, too, like, when the biggest mass firing happened, or, like, I guess it was technically a layoff, people found out because like they had to do stuff, and then they're like, oh, I can't log in anymore. What the fuck's the deal? And then eventually, slowly, everyone realized, oh, they made it so that you can't like, if you're one of the people that are getting fired tomorrow or whatever, you can't log in anymore. So, like, literally a group text message went around, and I was like, oh, fuck, and I just immediately, like, 11 o'clock that night, like, can I log in? And sure enough, I could still log in, so I was at least happy for that. But, you know, sure enough, like, a few weeks later, they're like, hey, you're, like, not gonna have a job past this date, but, like, we'll keep you till then, but, like, yeah. So that was fucking garbage, and it really sucked. And also, too, hey, as, they really didn't want to reduce the number of clients that we had, so that meant that as more and more people left, more and more of us had to pick up the slack and start working longer hours, and, you know, sometimes we were expected to do work and not necessarily get paid for it fairly, and yeah, that was fucking trash. And I really fucking hated it. So yeah, it kind of became miserable by the time I left, but overall it was a good experience. One thing, honestly, that I did learn from it is, I learned, I guess, so I like working from home, and that job was very good about, like, if you had days where it's like, and, like, honestly, it was a lot of days, to be fair. I got very lucky with this, where they're like, hey, you just need a fucking laptop, and you can write this shit, or, like, just fucking stay home, just report your hours to us, and, like, we'll let you stay home and work and do whatever. There'd also be times where we weren't, like, we'd also, like, get hours where we were just on call, and, like, we could stay at home, or, you know, hang out, be out, or, like, do whatever the fuck we want with our lives, just live life. But then we always would need our phone on, and as soon as we got that text message, as soon as we got that phone call, we had to be fucking there on it to fix whatever broke or do whatever with our client. So, I like working from home. I'm used to working from home from other jobs. I'm doing, like, a freelance thing for, like, a little bit of cash, because I wasn't sure how easily I'd be able to find employment, or how soon, I guess, I'd be able to find employment again. So, like, I'm used to working from home. I'm used to, like, kind of going into work mode, and, you know, I enjoyed it. It's comfortable, but I guess I kind of tested the limits to that a little bit more, where my Saturdays became kind of a nightmare, and, like, kind of, this part of it is just my, like, anxiety or whatever, but it's like, oh god, like, I need to fucking check my email, like, all the fucking time. I need to check my phone all the fucking time. Like, I don't want to be, like, that person who something broke and then for 30 minutes doesn't see the message that, like, hey, everything's on fire. And it, like, there would be times where it's like, oh god, 4 minutes ago they tried to call me. I should have seen that 3 minutes ago. Like, it's stupid. So that was kind of nerve-wracking, honestly, and I found myself kind of wanting something a little bit more traditional, but also not fully sacrificing the flexible hours. So yeah, I've been unemployed for a few weeks here. But what I did find, well, I guess, I mean, I had the freelance job, so technically not really, but whatever. I'm basically unemployed. But I will say, actually, one thing. This is the first time in my life where I found myself suddenly without a job, where I'm like, I trust that I can find something. I have a fucking skill set. I have a goddamn long-ass resume that I can barely fit onto a page anymore, even though they say you always should try to fit it onto a page. Really gotta go with that small-ass font. Really gotta get creative with columns and rows and shit, but, I basically, this is the first time in my life where I'm like, I'm fucking employable. Like, fuckers are gonna want me. Like, they're gonna be impressed when they see what I've done. And that's a good feeling to have. That's something I'm really fucking proud of myself for actually being able to say is like, hey, I do good work. Everyone that I've ever worked for has been mostly happy with me. Barring a few, like, minor complaints here or there, but that's any job like this you do. There's always gonna be people who, want you to do things differently than how you like to, and whatever. But basically, my point is everyone who has ever been directly above me has had pretty much nothing but good things to say, and, I have a fucking phone book of references that can vouch for me, and, like, my work ethic and dedication and stuff. So that felt great, and sure enough, I found, I went through, I applied, and I found shit or whatever, and I just learned yesterday I still need to, like, finish things with HR or whatever, but I'm going to be working for another marketing firm. This one's a little bit bigger, and this is kind of playing to the corporate stuff or whatever. I'm going to be working for a bigger company than what I'm used to. Like, the last one was, like, very small, and this is more medium-sized. Like, it's a medium-sized company that's trying their damn hardest to try to appeal to, like, people who want to work in, like, a big corporation. It's downtown. It's actually the shortest I think I've had to drive for a job in a while. Like, this is the closest to home that I've ever found employment, which we'll get to later, actually, because that might be a problem down the line for me, because I'm still living with my folks. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, the location appealed to me, not gonna lie, and also just part of it is I found exactly what I wanted, in the sense that they're like, hey, you only need to be here from, like, these certain hours, but, like, if you want to start your day earlier and then be done at, like, 3 o'clock and just have the fucking afternoon to yourself, go for it, man. And, like, it's gonna be less, like, they told me that I'm gonna be able to work from home a little bit here and there, but it's gonna be more, like, a more traditional office job, but, like, I kind of find that I'm wanting that a little bit, just because that's reliable, and, like, when work is done for the day, it's done for the day, and that's something I found really, like, I'm starting to take for heart. I want that, because a lot of people don't think about it, but working from home, there's a lot of room for, like, workplace exploitation there, even though you're not at the workplace, because there's kind of this weird fucked up dichotomy of, like, hey, we're letting you work from your house so you can do some extra stuff for us, or, we can call you whenever the fuck, and it's like, no, I need my personal time. I when I'm clocked out for the day, I need to be fucking clocked out for the day. But you can't just say no, like, they fucking pay you, like, they basically own your goddamn soul, so it's like, well, who the fuck am I to try to fight back against it or say anything? So you just kind of have to grin and bear it, but it's shitty and it sucks, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy that, like, hey, if I want to be done at, like, 3 or 4, I can do that, and whatever. One thing, okay, so I did go on Glassdoor and a few other, like, LinkedIn, a bunch of, like, places like that or whatever, and I kind of wanted to see, like, what's this place like, and I did that with everywhere I applied to. And there was actually a decent amount, I want to say, of negative reviews. Like, it wasn't super great rating wise. There's a fair amount of reviews, but it's a pretty entry level position. That's actually one thing I guess I can gripe about too. Is instead of like upgrading like you'd hope for after like a year of being out of school, I'm kind of side grading where like my pay is like less than 1% higher than what it used to be. Like I'm barely getting paid more than I did at the old place. I get better benefits though, so I guess that's nice. But like it's basically the same position I was at, and I was kind of like, maybe I should try to. I don't know. I was like, maybe I should try to wait it out, see if I can get something a little fancier. But I was like, fuck it. This is good. I need something sooner rather than later, honestly. Or at least I don't need it. I could coast for a little while more, but I want to get back to working. So, yeah, I did that. Yeah, so I looked through all, like, the review sites, and I saw a lot of people were like, yeah, I mean, like, it's fine for, like, entry-level type stuff, like, right out of school and all that, but, like, there's a lot of times where they expect you to work through your lunch break or to take a really short lunch, and, like, they don't pay you as much as other places do around here, so, like, they could give you a bunch of, like, they can have, like, a snack bar and, like, fucking, like, you know, a bunch of, like, wacky, like, millennial appealing, like, silly things, or, like, oh, yeah, like, pizza Fridays, or, like, you know, free bagels and shit in the morning, and, like, they're like, there's a lot of reviews from people that were like, yeah, I kind of would rather they just pay me more, and to be fair, I'm kind of in that boat where I'm like, I don't need the, like, like, free snacks, and, like, you know, I don't need a fucking trampoline in the basement or whatever the fuck. There's, unironically, a place my friend works for that does that. They have a fucking trampoline in the basement. I don't fucking get it, but places are trying to do that to be, like, hip, cool, fun, and exciting or whatever. I'd rather you actually just pay me a decent fucking wage so I can live my life, but, you know, whatever. It's funny that I say that when I was getting super hype over the fact I had Super Monkey Ball at my job, though, but I digress. Yeah, no. But what I was finding is a lot of negative reviews and kind of complaints about management, stuff like that. And one, you know, I was worried about that. I was worried about the fact I was going to be working for a bigger organization, and, like, I don't know. I hate to stereotype, I guess, or say that it's always, but, like, the bigger organization you work for, the more, like, I feel like I'm selling my soul. And, like, there's, like, I don't know, just from personal experience, when I worked for bigger places, it's like, oh god, like, you are actually just a number to them. Like, I am nobody here. I feel no sense of belonging. And also, the bigger places are where I was asked to do more, like, because sometimes in social media, you're making a post and you really don't want to make a post, but there's a person behind you with a fucking gun to your head saying, no, you're gonna tweet this, and that fucking sucks. And a lot of the times it's like, oh, this is really, like, this feels borderline unethical or borderline shitty, but, like, hey, do you want to keep your job? And it's fucking shitty. Which is why, too, hey, social media brands, like, bigger brands on Twitter, Facebook, and all that, a lot of the times do really shitty things. Keep in mind, everyone, that's not always the social media guy or guys or girls or, like, team or whatever. Like, sometimes management is like, no, you're gonna say this or else you're all, like, fired. Like, sometimes they don't have a choice. So it's not always the people running the social media. Just keep that in mind. Like, I'm not gonna say they never fuck up, because, oh boy, they do. But just keep that in mind. Sometimes there are higher powers that be that force people or, like, brands like that to make really shitty comments that people internally are screaming about, but, you know, the higher-ups always need to fucking get what they want because they're spoiled brats. But, yeah. So, you know, I have some anxiety there in terms of working for bigger companies. I feel like I'm selling my soul, you know, all that sort of shit. And just, like, I like working for nonprofits or smaller businesses, but also, hey, that there's not always a lot of places in that regard that, like, have positions open for you, or even the best of positions. And also, hey, just from personal experience, a lot of the times nonprofits can, sometimes they can guilt trip you a little bit into doing quote-unquote for exposure style work, which isn't great either. So yeah, I was kind of worried about that, but I shut my mouth and I just kind of bared with it. And I'm like, otherwise this seems a great fit, but I am a little bit concerned about the reviews and, you know, the size and whatever, and feeling maybe like I don't belong. And then I went into the interview yesterday, and it was fucking great. And the dude outright said that, like, hey, you might have seen, like, some negative reviews and things said about us when you're, like, applying or whatever. I just want to let you know that that was the old manager. I'm the new manager. Those reviews are, like, a couple years old, and, like, I'm doing my best to change that and hear those complaints addressed. And that honest to God won me over. And I expressed, like, hey, I have, kind of a passion for, like, doing marketing and social media and stuff like that for smaller businesses, people who are just finding their footing, like, basically, like, things that give back to the community, like, all that sort of thing or whatever. And, they were really, like, interested in that, and they really wanted to accommodate for that. Now, this is, I'm not going to say exactly what, because it'd probably be easy to find where I work if I say what I'd like doing. And, like, they don't necessarily work with nonprofits, but there's, like, a lot of, like, donation and charity drive stuff that the companies I will be working for do, and they're like, if you want to go in on that, we need a person for that. And I'm like, fucking awesome. Like, basically all of my fears got addressed within the span of, like, a 30-minute interview, and they really liked me. They said that, like, I knew more and had more expertise than most people that they hire. But granted, I have to assume that most people they hire are probably coming right out of school or whatever, but yeah, it was just a match made in heaven, and I was really fucking excited. So I'm really excited to start that job. I don't know when I start yet. It might be next week or the week after, but it's really fucking cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's odd, I'll say. I've talked to people who are, like, older than me, and, like, a lot of them are like, man, time really fucking compresses when you get done with high school or when you get done with college, and, like, I'm only 24, gonna be 25 in, like, 4 months here, and, like, I can feel it. Like, I can really feel it. It's so fucking weird that, like, I'm actually, like, I'm still kind of in awe some days that, like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing that thing I've been preparing my whole fucking life for. Like, I'm out there, I have, like, a job that pays me, and, like, I can buy stupid shit and not feel bad, and, like, I can just make time, hang out with people, grab coffee, do fucking whatever. It's so fucking weird. It's like I'm adulting, it's I don't know, but I don't know if I'll ever get used to it, honestly. And, like, I still talk to, like, a bunch of different friends, like, just, like, on Discord or, like, even real life friends or whatever. Like, all of us, like, even though we're out of school and shit, and we're like a few years, like, out, or like a year out at this point, like, we still have the dreams that it's like, oh no, like, I was late for my college class. Like, that shit never goes away. It seems like it's so fucking funny. Or my favorite dream, oh no, I accidentally signed up for a class and then I'm halfway through the semester and I never went to it. I'm gonna fail. Like, stupid shit like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird to actually be doing it and, like, kind of succeeding at life. Granted, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm succeeding, even though I'm, like, sometimes I think about it and I feel kind of bad because, like, I feel a little unhappy with a lot of different aspects of my life, but also, like, hey, I have it good compared to a lot of other people. Life's been pretty good to me recently, in terms of, like, I have mostly, like, employable skills, and, like, I can find a stable income, and, like, part of that is hard work, and part of that is privilege, and, kind of where I was raised and born into in society and all that, so there's that. But, like, I don't know, it's just weird to be here. I don't know. But yeah, like, honestly, I've been ready to move out for a while, and, like, there's a lot playing into, like, why I'm still kind of around here. Some of it's economics, but also some of it is just, like, it's not necessarily easier for me, but it's easier for other people and easier for people I'm close to and care a lot about if I'm still living with family. And there's something, like, there are people here that don't want me to move away, and, like, that's kind of rough to deal with because I don't want to, like, hurt those people, and I want to be there for those people, but also at the same time, like, I need to put my foot down at some point and be like, hey, this is my fucking life, I need to do what makes me happy. So there's gonna be some, I think there's gonna be some hard conversations in my future with people in this house about that, but, I'll cross that bridge when I need to get to it. There also too, like, part of it is there have been numerous points in the past where I almost moved out. My ex-girlfriend, two ex-girlfriends ago, we were saving up and we had a thing going. We're like, hey, we could move out and get a place together soon, and then that relationship just kind of ended because she realized that she was actually just happier living by herself, and she kind of didn't think that having a partner or a family was right for her, and she just kind of wanted to do her own thing, live her life alone, and, like, you know, no hard feelings there, and, like, you know, from time to time we still run into each other, and, you know, like, things are good, and, like, you know, we have mutual friends and stuff, and it ended on a pretty fucking good note. It's fine. And then, other than that, the same thing happened again with my ex from, God, even like a few months back, who cheated on me and then just kind of fessed up to it, and then we just kind of cut things off there because we're like, yeah, that's not great. So yeah, that sucked, and I'm not gonna lie, there's still some emotional stuff I need to get over from that, but, you know, like, hey, with any relationship that lasts for 3 to 4 years, that's a lot to carry when that ends unexpectedly like that, and not a great way. But I mean, like, her and I were saving up to find a place together, and, like, hey, you know what, that didn't work out. So I've kind of a bad habit of, as soon as both of those kind of fell through, I was kind of like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna indulge for a little bit and be a little irrational with my money in terms of buying stupid things. And, like, I don't want to say I have a spending problem, because I actually am very good about budgeting for my needs versus my wants, and part of that is just because growing up we didn't have a lot, like, we almost lost the house a few times growing up, so you know, that's something that I always really take to heart, and I've never like indulged to a point where, like, I'm actually hurting myself financially, but, like, there have been absolutely times where it's like, you know, if I kind of chilled out a bit, I could have found my own place by now. So I've been cooling on that in recent months. I still buy stupid shit all the time, but, like, not as much as I used to be. Like, self-indulgent and, like, you know, going places with friends and, you know, doing all that shit or whatever, and, like, you know, I'm saving up more so I can make that next step and just have my own place, because I'm so ready to move. But at the same time, too, like, I want to move to a place a little bit more popular. I live in the middle of fucking nowhere, and, like, I still want to stay around-ish here, or at least not too far away, but just some places nearby that are much more of a city than a town, because, like, I live in a fucking town-ass small town right now, and it's kind of like a network of small towns where it's like, hey, we basically have everything a city has in terms of, like, stores and, like, businesses and shit. It's just, like, they're all within, like, an hour and a half circle radius of my house, and, like, oh, if I want to go across, like, the county, or, you know, if I want to go to that town that has that one business, I need to plan out this trip, because later I want to go to this other town, and, like, errands and, like, a bunch of other shit or whatever, like, take some, like, proper planning, because everything's just so far spread apart from each other, and stuff like that. And, like, man, it still blows my mind or whatever when I hear, like, oh yeah, we have, like, 2 Targets in my city, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know, that just blows my mind, because, like, there's just one of everything you can think of here. So yeah, I'm ready to move on to somewhere that's a little bit more exciting, a little bit more youthful, energetic, urban, I guess. A little more diverse, honestly. Wisconsin is very purple, and there's, like, honestly, it feels like it's a crapshoot 50-50 in terms of, like, liberal and conservatives, whoever you run into. Granted, that being said, over where I'm at, because it's more in the middle of nowhere, it kind of skews a little more red than blue, which I'm not a fan of. So yeah, maybe just a bigger place that's a little bit more empathetic, and I don't need to see as many Trump bumper stickers around. That would do a lot for my mental health. But yeah, I don't know. I'm ready to make changes and go on. But also too, like, I've been thinking, like, God, it's gonna be weird, because, like, I have my local hangouts, and, like, I have, like, local businesses and stuff where, like, store owners know who I am, and, like, there's this Euro place I like, and I befriended the owner, and, like, when I go there to eat, like, he and I will just sit down and, like, we'll catch up on life or whatever, and, like, he's kind of like a friend, like, acquaintance dude, and, like, he knows my whole group of friends, and, like, anytime any of us go in there, he's like welcomes us. He gives us discounts and like free food and shit all the time. And like, there's this cozy community atmosphere that like comforts me, but also feels like it's suffocating me at the same time. And it's very bizarre. It's very erratic, and like I feel like I'm going nowhere in life while also at the same time feeling like this sense of belonging. But I feel like I need some adventure in my life. I need a shake up. I need to find a place where I feel like I can really go and live on my own for a bit and just kind of live life on my own terms and not feel shackled down by being within this community that I've been in for so long or whatever. So even if it's a community adjacent to this one, that's still enough of a shake-up for me. I just need something that is a little more exciting and live life a little bit more on my own because, yeah, I've been here too long and I'm ready to make that next step. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, life is weird. I know that I have a lot of people who are, like, younger than me that watch shit and are, like, still in college. Some people listening to this might still be in high school. But, like, yeah, just fucking keep at it. You'll get there one day. Network, and I know that networking is a loaded term and it's problematic for a lot of different reasons, and there's a lot of, like, social factors that are really shitty and stuff, but, honestly, I didn't even network that much, to be honest. Like, I did when I had to, and, like, the department I was in forced me to, but, like, not even do that. Just don't be a dick to people and, like, go out and, like, befriend or at least, like, stay in contact with, like, faculty and staff at your schools or, like, you know, big-name people who can help you out and, like, do good work, get internships, and just impress the hell out of the people that you're working for, even if you fuck up. Like, honestly, college is your time to fuck up. It feels like, you know, it isn't, but, like, and also, hey, there are consequences financially for fucking up in college if you fuck up too much, and it's terrible. But, like, go out, do internships, get some work experience, and, like, just remember that, like, people expect a lot from you, but also they know that you're gonna fuck up, and, like, they know that you're still trying to figure shit out. And honestly, like, even being, like, a year out on my own, like, people still, like, expect me to make mistakes here or there, and they're there for you. Unless you have, like, a really shitty boss, which, you know, that happens too, but, like, just find good internships, do good work. Good grades aren't enough anymore. Like, honestly, I've never had a job interview where they asked me for my GPA. Like, that shit matters, and, like, you should do well in your classes because, like, that education actually matters, and I honestly believe that, like, that'll make you a better person in the long run, too, and it'll make you more well-rounded of an individual, but, like, go out and do good work, and, like, build up your portfolio, and just, like, be yourself, and, like, show the world what you're interested in doing, and, like, find that, like, niche or, like, that place for you where you can really be you and do things that you care about and, you know, get fucking paid for it. That's, you know, it's very hard to do, and, you know, even I ended up staying at college for 5 years instead of the intended 4 because I changed majors, and I realized, you know, I thought I was following my heart, but, like, really I'm not, and then I ended up doing social media and, like, kind of digital marketing type stuff, and I realized, you know, there's a lot of creativity in this field, and marketing isn't necessarily this gross, like, advertising, like, lying and falsehood and puffery-based thing that I thought it was. Like, you know, marketing can be, like, promoting good causes and, like, charity drives and stuff like that. Marketing can be, like, signal boosting, people and, like, I guess, like, people who don't have an audience that really deserve an audience who do great work, you know? Like, marketing is like anything in life. It can be used for good and for evil. So, yeah, just be open-minded. Try and find out where you fit things in, and just do it. You can do it. It's hard. It fucking sucks, and, like, takes some people, like, longer than others, but, like, you can fucking do it. You just gotta do it. So yeah, that's it. I don't know. I'm just feeling pretty good these days. There's some things that suck, but I'm feeling pretty good. So yeah, that's happy. I hope y'all are enjoying, like, the daily June uploads, by the way, because that's gonna keep happening, and then I might take a break in July for a little bit, just so I can chill the fuck out and, like, actually make more content stuff. But yeah, doing pretty good. Life's great. Have a good one. Hope you all have a good night.